Greetings, Guardians. This is Olympus Alliance. Before we dive into today's breakdown, make sure to subscribe to the channel and drop a like if you enjoy this kind of strategic content. Your support allows us to continue bringing you deeper analysis, smarter builds, and the kind of insights that truly make a difference in your gameplay. And today, we're starting something new. A new series. Because instead of focusing on individual hero guides or specific teams, we're going to explore one of the most flexible and misunderstood systems in the game. Talismans. This is the system that allows you to adapt your heroes from fight to fight. Every other resource in Hero Wars is fixed once you invest in it: skins, glyphs, artifacts. Once they're built, they're locked in. But talismans are different. Talismans give you the ability to adjust your hero depending on the opponent, depending on the matchup, and depending on what you need in that specific fight. And that makes them incredibly powerful. In this series, we're going to go faction by faction, starting with the honor heroes. For each hero, we'll break down their available talismans, understand how they interact with their kit, and most importantly, decide when each one should be used. Because choosing the right talisman is not just about stats. It's about context. It's about understanding the fight before it even begins. And for each talisman, we will always follow the same structure. First, we look at the main fixed stat, and then we analyze the secondary stat, the one you can reroll using metacubes to optimize your build. That second stat is where a lot of players make mistakes. Or miss opportunities. So today, we begin with a very interesting hero. A hero that once dominated the battlefield. A hero that many players remember as one of the strongest damage dealers in the game. Ishmael. Now, let's be honest. That version of Ishmael belongs to the past. There was a time when his attack speed, critical hits, and self-healing made him incredibly difficult to deal with. He could shred through front lines, sustain himself through damage, and completely take over fights if left unchecked. But the game has evolved. New mechanics, new heroes, more control, more burst damage. And Ishmael, unfortunately, has not kept up with that evolution. Today, he is rarely seen in high-level play, and in many situations, he is simply too easy to counter. So if you are thinking about investing heavily into Ishmael from scratch, this is your warning. Be careful with your resources. Because in the current state of the game, he is not a priority hero. However, that's not why we're here. Our job today is simple. To understand his talismans. And how to use them correctly. Ishmael has two talismans available. The first one is the Talisman of Possession, which provides agility as the main stat and physical attack as the secondary stat. The second is the Talisman of Self-Restraint, which provides critical hit chance as the secondary stat, and armor as the main stat. Now, at first glance, both of these talismans seem perfectly aligned with his identity. He is a critical-based damage dealer. He relies on fast attacks. He benefits from survivability. So both options appear viable. But this is where Ishmael becomes different from most heroes. Because unlike many modern heroes, his skills do not scale with his stats. They are based on skill level, not on physical attack, not on critical hit chance, not on any scaling modifiers. Which means something very important. Increasing his stats does not change how his abilities function. It only changes how strong his basic attacks are. And because of that, choosing the right talisman becomes less about synergy with skills. And more about adapting to the fight itself. Let's start with the Talisman of Possession. This is the more straightforward option. Agility increases his overall stats, including physical attack, and the additional physical attack from the secondary stat makes his hits stronger. This talisman improves what Ishmael does best, dealing consistent physical damage through fast attacks. And because of that, this will generally be the most commonly used talisman. Especially in situations where Ishmael is not facing a heavily protected front line. If the enemy team lacks a strong tank, or if you are trying to apply pressure quickly, this talisman gives you that extra edge. More damage, more impact, more threat. Now let's look at the second option, the Talisman of Self-Restraint. This one is more situational. It provides critical hit chance and armor. Now, Ishmael already has access to critical hit chance through multiple sources: his skills, his equipment, his skins, his glyphs, and even his weapon artifact. So adding more critical hit is not always necessary. However, if you are pairing him with heroes that amplify critical hit mechanics, or if you are building around a crit-focused composition, then this talisman can become more valuable. But the real strength here is the armor. Because one of Ishmael's biggest weaknesses is survivability. He needs time to attack. He needs time to sustain himself. And if he gets burst down too quickly, his entire value disappears. So the additional armor can help him survive longer, especially if he is forced into a frontline role or facing physical damage dealers. So what's the final answer? Which talisman is better? The truth is, there is no single answer. And that's exactly the point of this series. Because with Ishmael, the choice is not about one talisman being superior. It's about understanding the situation. If you need damage, if you want to apply pressure, if the enemy team allows it, you go with the Talisman of Possession. If you need survivability, if you are dealing with physical threats, if you are trying to keep him alive longer, you consider the Talisman of Self-Restraint. And this is where talismans truly shine. They give you flexibility. They give you options. They allow you to adjust your hero without rebuilding everything. And there's one more important detail. Both of these talismans were available through Keeper events, which means many players already have access to them. So this is not a question of availability. It's a question of understanding. And that's what separates average players from strong ones. Not just having the tools, but knowing how to use them. So Guardians, this is Ishmael. A hero from another era of the game. But still a perfect example of how talismans can change the way you approach a fight. And as we continue this series, we're going to explore more heroes, more talismans, and more situations where the right choice can completely change the outcome. Because in the end, it's not just about power. It's about decisions. Stay tuned, stay sharp. And as always, salute and friendship.